The screen glows with numbers. Millions move through your account in seconds. You don't touch anything at first. You just watch it happen because something about this feels too smooth. A receipt prints beside you. Clean, official, perfect, but it's fake, and you know it. The business around you looks normal. A quiet front, harmless, forgettable. Customers come in, lights stay on, records check out. On paper, everything is real, but behind the counter, none of it exists the way it should. Your phone buzzes. Funds cleared. Clean. You feel a slight drop in your stomach. Not fear. Not yet. Just awareness. Because money like this doesn't move without leaving a trace. Outside, your shop sign flickers softly. Nothing unusual. Nothing suspicious. But inside, you're moving money that shouldn't exist. And you're doing it perfectly. Too perfectly. Another buzz. You hesitate this time, just for a second. Then you check it. Someone's asking questions. Your fingers stop. You don't know who, you don't know how, but you suddenly realize this system might already be watching you. And this is where the real problem begins. It didn't start like this. You weren't moving millions. You were trying to survive. Rent overdue, bills stacking faster than customers. Every day felt smaller, like the business was slowly disappearing around you. You kept the lights on, but barely. Then one day, someone walks in, not a customer. They don't look around. They don't ask questions. They look straight at you. And that's when you feel it. Something is off. Your business already looks legit, they say calmly. A pause, just long enough to make you listen. We just scale it. You don't fully understand what that means. Not yet, but you understand one thing. This could fix everything or ruin it. At first, it's small, a little extra money flowing through your system. Nothing loud, nothing obvious. You tell yourself it's temporary, just until things stabilize. No risk. At least, that's what they say. You hesitate. You think about the rent, the pressure, the silence of an empty shop. Your chest tightens, because deep down, you know this isn't normal. But you say yes anyway, and for a moment, nothing happens. No alarms, no consequences, just money. Clean on the surface, invisible underneath. It feels harmless until you see where the first payment actually came from, and suddenly, you're already too far in. Your business becomes a front. Not overnight, not all at once, but slowly, it stops being what it was. On paper, everything checks out. Sales increase, invoices stack, customers exist. At least that's what the system shows. In reality, most of it is fabricated. Numbers appear where nothing was sold. Transactions move without anyone walking through the door. And the strange part? No one questions it. At first, you just follow instructions. Input this, approve that, send here. Simple. Too simple. Money starts coming in from places you don't recognize. Accounts with no names. Transfers with no history. It blends with your real earnings, quietly, seamlessly, like it was always meant to be there. Then it leaves. Different accounts, different routes, but now it looks clean, legitimate, untouchable. You learn new words: layering, structuring, cleaning. They sound technical, professional, but you realize something. They're just ways to hide the truth. Every number tells a story, a product sold, a service delivered, a customer satisfied, except none of it actually happened. And somehow, that makes it more believable. You start to understand the system, not just how it works, but why it works, because everything looks normal, too normal. No noise, no flags, no attention, and that's when it hits you. This isn't complicated. It's designed to look simple. So simple, you could hide millions inside it, and no one would ever see it. At least, that's what you think.
Level 1. Small, clean. It starts small. Small enough to ignore. Small enough to explain away. A few thousand here. A fake invoice there. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that feels like a crime big enough to matter. That's how it gets past your instincts. You sit behind the counter after closing, adjusting the books by hand. A rounded number. An extra sale, a transaction tied to a customer who never existed. Tiny changes, but they change everything. At first, your hands move carefully. You check every digit twice, then 3 times, because you're waiting for something to happen. An alert, a call, a knock at the door, but nothing comes. And that silence does something to you. It makes the whole thing feel possible. The money moves through the business like water, in, across, out. By morning, it doesn't look dirty anymore. It looks earned, legitimate. You stare at the numbers again, almost expecting them to expose you somehow. They don't. In fact, they look better than your real sales ever did. That's the part you don't expect. Not the fear, not the risk, the thrill. Because for the first time in a long time, the business feels alive again, busy, successful, growing, even if most of it isn't real. And that thought should scare you. Instead, it pulls you in. You tell yourself it's just one clean pass, just proof that the system works. But deep down, you already know the truth. The first time isn't the dangerous part. The dangerous part is how easy it was. And if no one noticed this one, what happens when you make it bigger?
Level 2. Building the illusion. Now, you need consistency, not just one clean pass, not just luck, a pattern. Because one transaction can slip through, but a system has to look real. So you build it. Fake customer profiles, names, emails, purchase histories. At first, it feels excessive. Then it starts to feel necessary. You generate receipts automatically, time-stamped, categorized, stored. Every detail matters because the illusion isn't in the money, it's in the repetition. Transactions begin to loop, daily, weekly, predictable, controlled. Your business starts looking busy, too busy, and for a moment, that worries you because volume attracts attention. But then you realize something. Volume also hides patterns. The noise becomes your cover. Hundreds of transactions blur together. Nothing stands out. Nothing looks wrong, at least not at a glance. You step back and look at it all. The dashboards, the reports, the steady flow of customers who don't exist. And that's when it hits you. You're not running a business anymore. You're running a simulation. Every input is controlled. Every output is designed. It works exactly how you want it to, too perfectly. And that perfection starts to feel dangerous because real businesses aren't this smooth. They have gaps, mistakes, irregularities. Yours doesn't. Not anymore. You notice yourself checking things more often now. Logs, patterns, timing, not to fix problems, but to make sure no one else sees them. Because if someone looks closely enough, they won't see a business, they'll see a system pretending to be one. And that's when the first real question comes in. A customer, a real one, asking about a purchase that never happened.
Level 3. Network expansion. It doesn't stay just you, not for long. At first, you think you're in control. Every number, every movement, every decision. But then you get introduced. One meeting, then another. Different faces, same tone. Calm, quiet, certain. An accountant who doesn't ask questions. A supplier who invoices for things that never arrive. A partner who never says what they actually do. And somehow, they all know your role. That's when you feel it shift. This isn't your system anymore. It's theirs. Money starts moving beyond your business, across accounts you've never seen, through companies you've never heard of. Some of them are fake, just like yours. But others, they're real, busy, profitable, established, and still part of this. That's what unsettles you. Because now there's no clear line anymore. No way to separate what's legitimate from what isn't. Everything blends. Transactions bounce across multiple fronts, layered, split, reassembled, harder to trace, harder to understand. You try to follow the flow once just to see where it leads. You can't. It disappears somewhere in the middle, and no one explains it to you because you're not meant to see the full picture. You're meant to play your part, and you do, at least on the surface. But something changes inside you. The confidence you had before, it starts to fade because now you're relying on people you don't know, systems you don't control, and money that doesn't feel like yours anymore. You realize something, quietly but clearly. You were never building your own operation. You were being placed into one. And the moment that thought fully lands, you understand the truth. You're not in control. You're inside it. And getting out was never part of the system.
It happens quietly. No alarms, no shutdown, just one transaction. Flagged. Not blocked, not reversed. Marked. You almost miss it. Buried deep inside thousands of records, hidden between perfectly clean movements. But something about it pulls your attention. You stare at the screen longer than usual, because this one feels different. You report it, casually, like it's routine. And the response comes back fast. Normal, happens all the time. A simple answer. Too simple. You tell yourself it's fine, that the system is built for this. But something doesn't settle. Because after that, things change. Calls become shorter, more direct. No small talk, no explanations, just instructions. Sharp, precise, final. You notice the tone first, then the timing. Requests come faster now. Corrections happen instantly, like someone else is watching the same screen you are. You check the logs. Nothing unusual, at least nothing obvious. But you start feeling it anyway. That quiet pressure in the background. The sense that something is shifted, even if you can't see where. You move slower now. Double-check everything. Because for the first time, you're not waiting for success. You're waiting for a mistake. And then it hits you. The flag didn't stop anything. It didn't expose you. But it did something worse. It told the system you exist. And now, you're part of a list you were never supposed to be on. A list you can't see. A list that doesn't forget. Because one flag doesn't shut the system down. It starts a chain reaction. And you have no idea how far it's already gone.
Level 4, covering tracks. Now you're cleaning the cleaning, not the money, the path it took. Because once something gets flagged, nothing feels invisible anymore. You start rerouting transactions, shifting them mid-flow. Accounts rotate, names change, histories disappear. At least that's what it looks like. You erase data, then erase the records of the erasure, layer on top of layer. It should feel safer. It doesn't. Because every move you make now feels like a reaction, not control. You shut down parts of the business, quietly, without warning. Websites vanish, accounts go dormant, numbers freeze. Then days later, they reappear. Different names, different structures, same purpose. It becomes a cycle. Build, use, erase, rebuild. Faster each time. Too fast. You stop recognizing your own system. Dashboards change. Access shifts. Permissions disappear and reappear without explanation. And no one tells you why. You just adjust, because that's your role now. Adapt. Execute. Don't question. But something else starts to creep in. Uncertainty. Not about the system, about yourself. Because everything around you is temporary now. Businesses, accounts, identities. Even your role starts to feel replaceable. Like if you stop, someone else continues, without hesitation, without consequence. And that thought stays with you. Because the harder you try to stay hidden, the more activity you create, more movement, more changes, more signals. You see it in the patterns now. The system isn't getting quieter, it's getting louder. And suddenly you realize you're not disappearing, you're becoming easier to track. Level 5, the illusion breaks. It doesn't look different at first, just another request, another notification in a system full of them. But this one, you don't ignore, because it's not automated, not random, it's specific, targeted. You open it slowly, reading each line twice, then a third time, because something about it feels deliberate. They're asking for records, dates, transactions, identities. Not broad, precise, too precise. And that's when it hits you. They're not looking at your business, they're looking through it, straight to the parts that don't exist. You feel it instantly, that shift from control to exposure. Every fake number you created suddenly feels fragile, like it could collapse under a single question. You start checking everything. Invoices, customer profiles, transaction logs,
looking for cracks, looking for anything that doesn't hold. And now you see them. Small inconsistencies you ignored before, patterns that repeat too perfectly, details that made the system work now make it suspicious. Your breathing changes, slower, tighter, because for the first time, you're not hiding from a system, you're being examined by one. You send a response, carefully constructed, clean, controlled, but your hands don't feel steady anymore, because you know this isn't a test you can retry. There's no second pass, no reset, just one chance to hold the illusion together or watch it break in real time. And as you hit send, you realize something you can't ignore. They already know where to look, and if they're this precise now, how long before they stop asking and start acting?
The message comes without warning. No greeting, no explanation, just instructions. Shut it down, move the funds, disappear. You read it once, then again, because this isn't a suggestion, it's a final move. Everything shifts at once. No time to think, no time to question, just action. You start executing, accounts open, transfers initiated, routes activated in seconds. Every step is precise because it has to be. One mistake and everything stops. You feel the pressure building, not loud, not chaotic, controlled, too controlled, like the system is guiding you or watching you. You don't know which. Funds begin to move, faster than before, heavier than before. This isn't cleaning anymore. This is extraction. You close accounts as you go, erase traces mid-process. Systems go dark behind you, one by one. It feels clean, efficient, final. But something doesn't sit right, because this is moving too smoothly. Again, and you've learned what that means. You finish the last transfer, hands still, screen quiet. For a moment, it feels like you made it, like you got out. But then you realize you didn't shut the system down. You just removed yourself from it. And systems like this don't forget who was inside them.
The business is gone. Not closed, erased. No listings, no records, no trace that it ever existed. The accounts are empty, zeroed out, disconnected. On paper, it's like you were never there. And for a moment, that feels like relief. No pressure, no instructions, no movement, just silence. But something about it feels wrong. Too clean, too quiet, like everything disappeared a little too perfectly. You try not to think about it. You move on. At least you try to, but the feeling stays, that subtle tension in the background, like something unfinished. Then one day, your phone buzzes. No name, no number, just a message. You don't open it, not immediately, because you already know, if it's really over, why does it still know how to find you? And suddenly, that silence doesn't feel empty anymore. It feels like it's waiting. A business is just numbers on paper. That's what you told yourself. Numbers can be adjusted, moved, hidden, rewritten. Stories can too. A sale that never happened, a customer who never existed, a trail rebuilt until it looks real. And for a while, that feels like power, control through paperwork, safety through precision. But that belief doesn't last, because numbers don't just hide truth, they reveal patterns. And systems don't care about your story, they care about repetition, timing, behavior, movement. The things you thought made you invisible were the exact things marking your shape. That's the part you understand too late. You thought you were cleaning money. In reality, the system was mapping you. Every transfer, every adjustment,
every attempt to disappear. Not forgotten, stored. Because people vanish, names change, businesses collapse, but patterns stay. And once a system learns your pattern, it doesn't need your name anymore. It already knows enough. So maybe that was the real trap. Not the money, not the lie, the illusion that you could move through an invisible system without becoming visible to it. Because in a world built on invisible systems, nothing is ever truly clean.